I'm Samantha, the volunteer coordinator for West Valley City Animal Services, and today I'm going to talk to you about dog body language. Observing a dog's body language is the best tool to figure out how the dog is feeling, how safe it is to interact with them in their current state, and is helpful in preventing injuries and/or bites. It also helps to make sure that every interaction a dog is having at the shelter is a positive one. I want to start off by saying that no one piece of a dog's body language will tell you the whole story. In order to get an accurate reading, you need to look at the whole picture. You can't just look at a dog's ears and know what they are trying to say, or you can't just look at their mouth. You want to look at the whole picture and put all of the pieces together in order to get an accurate read on what the dog is trying to say. You also want to keep in mind that their behavior might change from event to event. A dog may be happy and excited when you offer a treat, but then you may walk by a cat and the dog's body language might change, whether that's fearful or trying to get to the cat. It's all things that you want to pay attention to. If something scares or excites the dog while you are out, their body language will change, and you should be watching and evaluating their body language the whole time you are interacting with them. Let's begin with the positive body language that you might see. You might see relaxed, playful, or alert. Relaxed and approachable. This dog is relaxed and reasonably content. He is unconcerned and unthreatened with any activities going on in his immediate environment. So let's take a look at the dog's body language. His tail is down and relaxed. He has a loose stance and his weight is flat on his feet. His mouth may be open slightly with his tongue exposed. His head is high. His ears are up, but not forward. And these are all images of dogs that are relaxed and approachable. Let's look at playful. This is the basic invitation a dog can give to play. It may be accompanied by excited barking or playful attacks and retreats. This set of signals may be used to indicate that any previous rough behavior was not meant as a threat or challenge. And let's take a look at his body language. His tail is up, and it may broadly wave back and forth. His ears are up. His pupils are dilated. His mouth is open and his tongue may be exposed. His front end is lowered by bent forepaws. And these are all images of dogs that are showing a playful behavior and body language. Alert and checking things out. If the dog has detected something of interest or something unknown, these signals communicate that he is now alert and paying attention, while he is assessing the situation to determine if there is any threat, or if he should take any action. Let's take a look at the body language. His tail is horizontal, but not stiff or bristled. His tail may move slightly from side to side. He has a slight forward lean, standing tall on his toes. His mouth is closed. He has a smooth nose and forehead. His eyes are wide, and his ears are forward and may twitch as if trying to catch a sound. Alert. These are some body language of dogs that are alert. and listening for sounds or trying to assess in a situation. Let's keep in mind that not all breeds will present in the same way. A cropped tail or floppy ears will not sit the same as a dog with a full tail or with ears that stand up. That's why it's important to look at the whole body and take into consideration the dog's breed, as these may change how the body language will appear. This is also true for an animal that may be injured or had an injury in the past that may stop something from reacting the way that it normally would. Just remember to look at the whole picture and take into account what's going on externally that may be driving the dog's behavior. Next, we will look at stressed and fearful body language. Fearful and worried. This dog is fearful and is offering signs of submission in order to avoid any further challenges and prevent conflict. Let's take a look at the dog's body language. His body is lowered. His tail is down, though it may wag slightly. He may leave sweaty footprints. His paw is raised. The corner of his mouth is back. He might lick at the air to help de-stress. His eye contact will be brief and indirect. His forehead is smooth, and his ears are back. These are all dogs exhibiting signs of fear and worry. Now let's look at stressed and distressed. This dog is under either social or environmental stress. These signals are simply broadcasting his state of mind and may not be specific to an individual. Let's take a look at the dog's body language. His tail is down, tucked between his legs. He may be sweating through his pads. He may have rapid panting with the corner of his mouth back. His pupils will be dilated. His ears are back, and his body is lowered. These are some images of what a dog might look like if he's exhibiting this stressed and distressed behavior. Other behaviors to watch for. Lip licking. Dogs will lick their lips when nervous. Stress yawning. Dogs will also yawn when nervous. Whale eye. The dog will turn their head away but keep their eyes on the perceived threat, showing the whites of their eyes. Rigid or stiff posture. The dog is tense, often frozen for a split second before either fighting or fleeing. Displacement language. Displacement language helps the dog to self-calm and refocus attention away from them and onto something else. If a perceived or actual threat approaches and the dog is nervous or uncomfortable, she will often indulge in behaviors that take the threat's focus away from what could be a negative intention. The threat's attention is diverted onto the behavior the dog is doing, like sniffing the ground or scratching, and not actually the dog herself. These behaviors are often performed when the dog needs an outlet for their pent-up energy or frustration, but can become compulsive if the outlets are not given. Displacement behaviors can result in compulsive behaviors, including excessive spinning or licking, sneezing, shaking, sniffing, nose licking, yawning, spinning, pacing, chattering teeth, the shake-off, which is where a dog will release stress and tension by shaking. These are all signs that you can look for and notice in a dog that is stressed and having issues. And these you should be watching for and notice that, this dog is getting stressed. It's time to remove them from the stressful situation, put them back in their kennel, and let them de-stress. Now let's take a look at some aggressive body language. Extreme fear and total submission, and dominant aggressive. Extreme fear, total submission. This dog is indicating total surrender and submission. He is trying to say that he accepts his lower status by groveling before a higher ranking or threatening individual in the hopes of avoiding a physical confrontation. Let's take a look at his body language. He rolls onto his back, exposing stomach and throat. His tail is tucked. He may sprinkle a few drops of urine in fear, and the corner of his mouth is back. His nose and forehead are smooth. His eyes may be partly closed. His head turns to avoid direct eye contact, and his ears are flattened back. These are some pictures of dogs that are in extreme fear and showing signs of submission. I do want to note that these dogs, while they may seem less likely to perhaps bite or do something, these are dogs that, if pushed, will turn into what we like to call fear biters. They're submitting in order to get the perceived threat to leave them alone. And if that threat continues to push them, they can be pushed to a certain point where they, out of fear, will bite or do something to try to get themselves away from the situation. So while this may not seem like something you should be more alert for, it is. These dogs can be pushed to bite. Now let's look at a dominant aggressive. This is a very dominant and confident animal. Here he is not only expressing his social dominance, but is also threatening that he will act aggressively if he is challenged. So let's take a look at his body language. His tail is raised and bristled. It is stiff, but may be seen to quiver or vibrate from side to side. This is different than wagging. It'll be a much smaller movement and usually a lot quicker. His hackles, or the hair along the back of his body, may be raised. His ears are forward, may be spread slightly to form a wide V shape. His forehead may show vertical wrinkles. His nose may be wrinkled. His lips may be curled back. His teeth and often the gums of his mouth are visible. His mouth is open and C-shaped. The corner of the mouth is forward. He has a stiff-legged stance and his body is leaning slightly forward. Now let's talk about your body language. How you approach an animal matters, and they read your body language like you read theirs. Think about what would make you comfortable or uncomfortable when meeting someone new. Would you want a stranger to lean over you, shove their hands in your face, and immediately start touching you? Let me guess that the answer is probably no. Let's watch a video on some good body language that you can have in order to facilitate a good interaction with a pet.
When you meet a friend's or family member's new dog, you may be tempted to rush in and greet this new furry friend. Don't. Here's a quick list of tips to practice a safer interaction. Don't rush in with a loud voice or quick movements. Do approach slowly using a relaxed pace. Don't stick your hand in the dog's face. Do ask the owner if you can pet the dog.
May I please pet your dog?
Yes, please do.
Don't look the dog in the eye. Do use your peripheral vision to watch the pet. Don't lean or loom over the dog. Do stand outside the dog's space. For small dogs, you can crouch outside their space, presenting your side. Don't pet the dog unless the dog approaches you for petting. Do use gentle pets. Don't hug or squeeze the dog or mess with the dog's ears, tail, or other sensitive body parts.
Hopefully that video gave you some good tips on how to approach an animal the best way. And hopefully this video overall has given you some good ideas of what to look for when you're interacting with a dog. Please keep in mind that these animals at our shelter are all strays, which means we don't know a lot about their behavior or history or anything that would give us a better idea of what the dog is like in every situation. Each situation should be treated as a new situation, and you should be constantly watching the animal and yourself for body language and signs of stress. At any time, if you feel uncomfortable handling an animal, please notify a staff member. Anytime when you feel uncomfortable, let us know and we will come and assist you with putting the dog back. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please, if you have any questions, ask a staff member and they can give you more instructions.